After graduating from high school, Yuri went to the graduation party with his friends and had a great time. When he thought about what an interesting life he would have after starting at the pedagogical university, he felt excited. After a while, Yuri was already comfortable in his room and making friends with other guys who were also college students. The days went by quickly when you were a student, but one spring, Yuri noticed a girl learning with him. He couldn't figure out why he had missed her for so long. Perhaps he was loving his long-awaited freedom and independence, or the change in the spring air could have been what made him feel that way. Yuri started to watch his friend every day, because he was too scared to get to know her better while he was in college. Irina knew that she would never be happy with her family, because who needs a thin, red-haired monster with freckles all over her face that doesn't stand out? She was called Red from the first day she started school. But how can she keep her heart from beating faster when she sees Yuri? She has to think about him all the time, right? Yuri caught up with Irina one night as she was walking home from class. Right away, a lump of worry appeared in her throat. He might have guessed that she liked him because she looked at him a lot in class. The boy touched her arm, which made her whole body shake. "Stop it, Irina. Julie is your friend, and I know that you both live in the same room." "You see, I love her, but I'm afraid to tell her," he stuttered. Irina wasn't ready for this talk. She loves him so much that she breathes, lives, sleeps, and thinks about him. So she should set him up with her friend? "Oh no," they said, but Yuri begged them to answer. "Okay, I'll talk to Yulia," the girl said with a sweet blush. Yuri was glad. "Thank you. I knew you were good." The girl's throat felt even tighter around the lump. It was nice of her, but he loved Julia more. Irina felt cold and alone for several days as she walked around in a fog. She finally chose to talk to Julia. She felt better when she thought that Yuri would go see her friend. That way she could see the person she loved more often. Yulia danced around the room after hearing Irina. Yuri is the guy she wants to be with. For a long time she had been staring at him. He seemed so shady and proud. She needs to do something about her hair and makeup now that such a handsome man has seen her. Irina agreed with her friend, but it broke her heart. So before the date, she did Julia's hair and told her what to wear. Happy friend would leave the room on a butterfly to go on a date, making Irina cry very hard. She couldn't picture them being happy with their love. Now that Yuri was 5 years old, he married Yulia, who was already pregnant. They moved in with the man's parents after getting married. He was finishing school full-time, and Yulia switched to a part-time program. Irina saw Yuri at her door one day. He was hunched over and sitting on his hind legs like a kitten that had been left behind. "Yuri," Irina said in shock, "what are you doing here?" Slowly he got up and leaned against the wall. He looked at the girl with a sad and disappointed face. "Please let me in, Irina. I lost my room key, so I have nowhere to go." Irina told him, "Well, since you're here, come in." She did not know what to do, so she made mint tea and set out apricot jam cakes. She bought them for herself a lot because she knew Yuri liked them a lot. As they talked, Yuri told her all of his regrets without her noticing. He probably did it because his home felt calm and cozy in a way that he hadn't felt in a long time. When Yulia moved into Yuri's parents' house, she changed everything about it, including the way it was decorated and how things were done. She got cranky and was always upset about something. At first, her husband and family thought this was just something a pregnant woman would do. But after their daughter was born, she didn't change at all. In fact, she became even louder and started to yell at Yuri's parents for the fact that his manager father still drove an old car when he could have bought his son a foreign car. "What did your family give you?" The fight from yesterday happened because Yuri stood up for his parents. When the boyfriend was getting ready for school in the morning, Yulia threw an empty bag in front of him because she hadn't made anything for her husband. She started to talk to him about going abroad to study instead of going to college right on time. Because what good would that pedagogical university do him? When Yuri got to college, he didn't go to class. Instead, he went to a bar and drank a few drinks to drown out his anger. But it didn't help. He had a bad mood and lost his keys. "And Plaza, you don't care about our problems." The guy told her, "Look for a couple. Most people live in peace and love. He ran his hand through her hair lightly. "You say love is golden. I've only had one love, and I never will have another. Unfortunately, there's no way out." Yuri has tears in her eyes. "Why is there no way out? What does he look like?" The boy whimpered. "Maybe I can talk to him." Irina told him it was impossible, after carefully studying his face. Her look stopped Yuri in his tracks, and he walked toward her. They didn't notice how much closer they were becoming that night. Their thoughts were taken away by a sweet moment, and music played in their hearts. "Come back in the evening?" she told him when they met after class. "In the morning." Irina, who was feeling good and motivated, started making dinner for two. She was thrilled when Yuri came over often, but then she found out she was pregnant. Irina didn't tell Yuri the secret, and she started to think about how to end the pregnancy. She can't give birth to a married man. It could also be a girl, a redhead with spots like hers. Like her mother, she would have a problem and cry, put on makeup, and feel bad about how she looked. Irina saw her this way in her dreams too, ugly and red-haired. The girl ran barefoot on the green grass and held out her hands to the young woman. The woman turned away from the girl. She kept putting off going to the doctor, and when she finally did make it, she couldn't get into the office. The girl chose to tell her mother the truth at home because her mother had always understood. With a heavy load on her heart, she fell to her knees in front of the person closest to her as she drove home. Her mother held her while she cried and comforted her. Then she kissed her freckled face all over. The older woman said in a heavy voice, "We will give birth." When Irina's son Andrew was born, everything got better for her. Her mother was very kind and helped her with everything. The young woman is now set on giving her whole life to her son. She doesn't care that she's ugly. She's not going to look for a partner right now. She was glad Andrew had dark hair and eyes like his dad. The fun chores made the time go by fast. Andrew was about to start school soon. Irina picked the regional center as the place to go to the market and get everything she needed. It was in this city that she missed her college years and the start of her new life. Irina chose to go to the lake and ride a boat until the train at the end of her shopping trip. She felt a warm breeze tickle her face and blow her hair. She looked around and saw Ulya and a young man. Suddenly, she heard a voice she knew. Laughing happily, they put their hands under the spray for fun. On the beach, Irina was ready for her. As you might expect, Julia didn't want to see her. She told her that Yuri was off making good money abroad. "And what do you do?" Irina asked with a nudge. She laughed and said, "You know, I got married young, so I didn't have time to meet someone and fall in love. I know you want me more than anyone else. Who would want a redhead like you?" She stood tall and proudly walked up to the young man. "Maybe we should go swimming again, yet again." Irina went to a boarding house on a hot day to see her aunt, who is the sister of her mother. Before going inside, she tripped and hit her heel on the grate, which almost knocked down a guy. She said she was sorry and saw Yuri. He was walking with a stick. His work abroad had led to a crippling accident. He hurt his back while building something. The young guys began to talk, and Yuri told her that he had divorced Julia because she had cheated on him so many times. "I've been living alone for a long time because who needs a disabled person?" he said, saddened. He also said, by the way, that they would be getting back together soon. "Will you come, Irina?" He gave her a warm look in the eyes. It was hard for the young woman to look at him because she didn't want to admit that she still loved him and was raising their son, but she agreed to meet him in the park near the old fountain and go to the university courtyard with him. Julia looked at Yuri and then at Irina, who didn't look like the person she knew, with big, surprised eyes. The girl was now pretty, slim, and freckle-free. She hadn't dyed her hair red, though. It's now in fashion. Yuri went to the clinic without a wand, and the treatment worked. He had a big smile on his face. Julia got up from her seat and walked over to him. "Hey, friends, do you know who that is? This is Yuri, my husband." "Ex-husband," Yuri said out loud as he walked toward Irina. The line of peers made it seem like they had never been apart for 10 years. Everyone was pleased and knew each other. They went to the lake to watch the sunrise after a big meal at the restaurant. Irina should take a break, Yuri told her. As Irina said, "You look so much better now. I have something to tell you." The young guy grabbed her hand and Irina could see the fierce look in Julia's eyes. She agreed, though. "Let me tell you something, too. It doesn't surprise me that I'm still single, but you were. We have a son who looks a lot like you." Yuri stopped and gave Irina a sparkling eye look. He told the girl to say these words over and over. The young man rarely saw his daughter and was very upset that Julia always kept them from seeing each other, even though the court ordered them to. He also had a son, it turned out. "Is it true, Irina?" He held her close and wiped her tears away. "No, Yuri, not here. Let's go see our friends and family." "Yes, that's true about the kid. His name is Andrew." "Will you marry me?" "Yes, my love." It's been 3 years since that wonderful high school gathering. Along with Andrew, Yuri and Irina raised a girl who was born a year after they got married. The couple had plenty of money, happiness, and love. The young man was only mad that his ex-wife Julia wouldn't let him see their daughter, Sonia. There was no doubt that she was doing this on purpose to hurt Yuri even more. Julia was angry at everyone. Because she never found happiness for herself, she stayed the same mean, selfish, and evil person. The guy she dated sometimes couldn't stand her for more than a week and ended all contact with her right away. This made Julia very angry because her ex-husband was happy with his new family. This woman really wanted Yuri to be hurt. She didn't know why, but that was all she wanted at the time. But time went on and Yuri and Irina's family had no more bad luck. In fact, their lives were peaceful and quiet. Yuri suggested that they grill kebabs in their garden one Sunday morning because Julia couldn't sleep at night because she was thinking of ways to hurt her ex-husband. Irina loved it when her husband cooked meat, and so did her kids. They wanted to eat their dad as much as they could. The young man seasoned the meat and started the fire. His son brought wood and their little girl swung on the swing. Irina's face lit up with joy as she walked out of the house carrying the cup of veggies for the kebabs. She loved being with her family by the fire. A happy Yuri was moving his arms and talking to his son about something interesting. She looked over at the swing set and slowly lost her smile when she saw that her little girl wasn't there. The young woman looked at the gate and saw the girl in a red dress. She thought something bad was going to happen. At the same time, she heard the sound of a very fast-moving car engine down the street. Yuri heard his wife scream in pain, and then everything went like a bad dream. In an instant, the young guy knew his daughter was in danger and ran to the gate. Very soon, a black car was going to almost hit the child. The girl was scared and fell on her back, crying. 50 meters later, the fast-moving car hit a tree and blew up. After a short time, Yuri and Irina were a little less angry when the police and firefighters came. Thanks to God, they were spared a terrible accident, and they took turns holding their daughter who had already forgotten about the terrible event. The woman who had been burned was named Ulia by the cops the next day. She was punished right away for what she did, so no one will ever know what kept her from following through with her plans that day. The daughter from Yuri's first marriage now lives with him and his family. The couple is going to have another child in about 6 months. Fate always gives everyone what they deserve. Some people get married and are happy, and some people even die.